What is up, guys? Wraith here, Gray Bearded Gaming. We are back on our little P99 guy here, and we're after some discussion last time where we worked around kind of exploring Crushbone a little bit and got a group up on the Orc Hill outside of Crushbone. It's kind of torn as to what to do with the belts that we got at the time, because part of me was like, well, there's always people trying to buy these things, and we might be able to get a little bit of plat out of them. The trade-off is that we only ended up with about 10 or 11 total. So yes, technically you could get about 10 plat or so, but it's nothing too spectacular about that. I'm kind of curious to see at this level. Again, we're 7 and a little bit of change. We're able to pad our level a little bit, messing around in Crushbone, and kind of had some off hours where there wasn't quite as many people. That unfortunately came to a rather abrupt end when a bard came into the zone who was able to basically swarm the whole front half of the zone. So the pickings were mighty slim because they were able to just pretty much continuously train all the mobs that we could handle. So we just backed out and then called it a night. But we're on our way now to Caledon. We're gonna turn over the belts that we have, see kind of what kind of boost does that look like for us experience wise. I think one of the tricks that we'll probably do, and we did it with the little bone chip quest and some other things like that, is in any opportunity where we're able to do that, whether to pad a level, boost a level, I think we'll most likely take more advantage of that as opposed to just trying to sell it. I think that in our case, it will be more beneficial to, pad experience, get us slightly higher level, at least bigger, especially if we can get slightly bigger whenever we're hunting, to give ourselves an easier time to keep the safety net a little bit larger. But I'm going to keep on boogieing over. Like I said, I donated for a Spirit of the Wolf here, so we got a little bit of run fast for our stubby little legs. We will catch back up with you guys here in just a few minutes when we get over to Caledon, and I'm sure most people know, but I'll go ahead and show how to do it when we first get there for maybe some of the folks who really haven't seen kind of how to find this guy. But we will jump in and we will show you guys where the hand-in is for these guys. But we'll be back here in just a few minutes. So we were right outside of Caledon, came up, ran across, saw this crag chicken out here. Had to get a little bit of my payback. You see, we're right there, kind of at the door, so we're fast approaching where we wanted to be. But since we've given up one of our lives to one of these ridiculous chickens, it's only fair that I get to swing back and take one of theirs. So, anyway, we're going to jump in here real fast. We're going to turn in our belts so that I can show you guys where that is. And again, I know a lot of fans or anybody who's actually watching probably know, but in case somebody else jumps across, it's not quite sure. Run over here to the dwarven city of Caledon. We jump in real quick, and it's actually pretty easy. The guy's right in the back of the little warrior guild here in southern Caledon. The zone itself is really not all that complicated. It kind of goes straight back in a line. Once you loop around some of these tunnels, there's kind of a couple little side pieces. Like you take that piece and you can get to the northern Caledon. It starts off like a little bank area. You get back to where the paladins and the clerics are. You get your stores up front, right up here. But then you go and you get your little castle here. And of course, this is one guy we talked to in a previous episode, Vacto. He's the one who hooked us up with our nice scarab armor. But we kind of tap dance back and forth here and shoot back here. We get Canlo news back. And this guy will take our belts from us and trade us experience. He also gives out, there you go, let me just drop in here. Gives out pieces of leather armor, which none of these should be an upgrade for us. However, we can sell them and maybe get a little bit of cash. So there we go. Again, that's a pretty hefty chunk of experience on us, because we were about 1 bubble in. We got 2.5 bubbles. I mean, we got just about half a level off of doing just those 10, or I think it was 11 belts. Yeah, 11 belts. And we got half a level based off doing that. It's pretty solid experience. So there's a lot to be said about trying to sell the belts for some quick cash, especially for players. If you're not in a hurry, you can take your time. You're just trying to, have a good time and motor way through. You can definitely use that as an early source for some revenue if you get the belts, if you get the pads. Like I said, in my case, people will just try to kind of pad through some of these early levels. And full disclosure, I really want to actually get to be able to cast some spells here. We're so close. Level 9 before we can actually cast any spells. So I'm trying to get to that point. Now, one thing we do need to do while we are here is to make sure that we stock back up on bandages. Because when we get a little bit bigger, excuse me, when we get a little bit bigger, yes, we'll have a heal and we'll have a couple of heals kind of as we go. We can always use that bind wound skill. So, like I said, there's the belt. Like I said, there's the argument to be made really about, the crushbone belts is whether or not to use them as a source of revenue, like I said, or use them for experience. So, I mean, again, a lot of people who are, they're in it for the long haul will sit outside and they'll sell them because you average on these servers, you're going to get, about a plat a piece for the belts, and occasionally you'll find somebody who's going to cough up more than that just to buy them quickly. And then you have the crushbone shoulder pads, which those, of course, come off Legionnaires, which at the moment would pretty much just curb stomp us into oblivion. Yeah, really not a whole lot to transfer. It really pretty much just kind of curb stomp us into oblivion. So we really don't want to kind of mess around with those guys. But those typically sell for, 2 plat is the running average. So again, you make an argument kind of either way. In our case, we're going to go for the experience. But what we're going to do, we're going to jump out from here really quick and make my way back over to some fighting areas here rather than run around the town. So we'll catch back up with you guys here in just a few minutes once we get reestablished for some combat, all right? All right, guys, so as you can see, we're kind of safely back here up under the tree fort that is Kelth, and I'm fast approaching the pod lift over here. Like I said, we turned in our belts. We decided that's the direction we're going to go in. There's not a huge update, honestly, for this particular episode. Mostly just kind of trying to decide where we're going in that direction. I think we're pretty sound there. So we're going to jump back over the hill here and see about either trying to find us either an Orc Hill group or potentially running around in Crushbone and seeing what we can get done in there and try to push ever close to level 9 and finally getting kind of some spells of our own. Like I said, pretty short update this time, nothing too spectacular, but every now and again when you just make directions, I figured we'd jump out and kind of point that out at the very least. So we're going to keep on trucking along here and see what we can do. We've been lucky so far and managed to have dodged most of the trains out of Crushbone, have kind of stayed safely off the side. I think we're sneaking up on level maybe where we could try, to get in some of the camps maybe that are like the Trainer Hill camp or something like that potentially. And at that point, of course, the shiny brass shield is always a nice option, especially for a nice little paladin. Just get a nice one-hand weapon instead of the two-hander. But we'll just have to see how things go, right? So, but until next time, guys, like I said, if you like what we're doing, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Give us some feedback on what you think. Like I said, if you're doing the challenge yourself, what kind of stuff did you guys get into? What kind of characters did you end up with out of the gate? And how are you doing so far in the challenge? But until then, guys, I hope everybody has a great night, and we will see you guys next time.